13-game win streak officially snapped. Twins drop Game 3 in Milwaukee after Zebby Mathews makes his 2025 Twins debut. Final score 5-2. Full deep dive coming up next on the Minnesota Twins Postcast.
This is the Twins Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Minnesota Twins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Minnesota Twins Postcast episode right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. That's your team every day. Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. Got my main man, CJ Baumgartner. Follow him on X if you haven't already. At BombCJ30, Twins expert over at Zone Coverage MN. CJ 13-game win streak snaps today, but hey, 13-1 in your last 14, right? We'll take that. For me, we were just talking before we hit record, you know, it felt like this was probably the game that it was most likely to get snapped. You got Zebby Mathews making his 2025 debut. No Correa, no Buxton, no Willie Castro. Did it kind of feel like that for you coming in? And also, too, you know, I asked Sweet Lou this last night. When you watch them play right now, what did you think the biggest difference between last year's 12-game win streak, around the same time of the year, by the way, versus this year's 13-game win streak from your lens was?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think today overall, it felt like even though the Twins didn't have their biggest lineup, it felt like they could have gotten a win because of the fact of how they played yesterday, and they were able to get some guys together and do some stuff. But yeah, you know, I think the only thing really that felt like it separated was just maybe a couple weeks in the schedule. I think really, though, when you look at the Twins' scoreless inning streak, I think really it's been driven by the starting pitching being really, really good and the offense doing just enough. Whereas last year, it did really felt like you had the bats come alive. You had Willie Castro and Carlos Correa on their all-star campaigns, where really right now, and Byron Buxton, of course, is a big mover in a lot of this, but in recency bias, it's felt like really what separated this run from last year is just how dominant the pitching staff really has been. And I know obviously Zebby Mathews made his first start in the streak and now it snapped, but really pretty much 1 through 4, and for the most part 1 through 5 through this rotation, it's been really tough to stop, and I think that's been the biggest reason why.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Good breakdown there. Lots to get into from this one. Biggest turning point from today's 5-2 loss, plus a preview of the Cleveland series. Huge Cleveland series coming up. That starts tomorrow, by the way. But first, quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by Game Time. Game Time, download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. All right, so a quick little recap again. MLB best 13-game win streak coming in. Game 3 in Milwaukee, trying for their 4th straight sweep, which is just crazy to even say out loud. Again, Zebby Mathews on the mound, making his first start of the year, getting called back up. He got into a little bit of trouble, 3 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, and then, you know, flip the switch. Offensively, Twins only muster up 2 runs on the day, so that was kind of it. Final score 5-2, 26-20 now on the year, still 5 games above 500. What was just your kind of biggest takeaways and A topics? You know, what stuck out the most from today's game?
Well, we talk about the starting pitching really being the driving factor for the Twins during this streak, and I believe the Twins had something like a 32-inning, I can't remember the exact number, but it was a pretty significant scoreless inning streak, and that really had helped them recently. But the other thing had just been that the offense had been able to do just enough, and this kind of loss felt really like an early season loss where the starting pitching wasn't exactly the best, but it was good enough. The bullpen did its job to kind of hang on, but the offense ultimately, while doing a good job getting runners on through walks and a few hits here and there, ultimately never could find that one big kind of push throughout the game. And that's really what today's start was like. Zebby didn't give the Twins a great start, but the Twins bullpen really kept them in the game. More, it was just that the Twins offense had its opportunities and couldn't quite cash in enough times to really make it a ball game.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Yeah, again, to your point with Zebby on the mound, kind of dug themselves in an early hole in this one. But from just your eyes, your lens, when was today's biggest turning point in this game? When and why? Lay it on us.
Well, I was coming into this all ready to have my turning point being in the third inning when Royce Lewis hit the home run, and then the Twins were able to get a couple more runners on. They had the bases loaded, 2 out, and they couldn't get another run in the inning. And that was after the Twins gave up a 3 spot, I believe it was, in the in the bottom half of the second.
Yeah.
So this was really like hey, you're going to get a couple runs, you're going to respond right away. It's what the Twins had done, when they've dug themselves in the early hole, they've at least gotten those runs right back, or at least kept themselves in it. And I was ready for that to be it. And then all of a sudden, Royce Lewis comes up late, believe it was the 7th inning, hits that ball right to the, to the wall in the gap, and it looks like it's going to be a home run. And then Churio robs it on just a great play. Yeah. And that was the real turning point, because Lewis was about to tie the ball game up, and we'd had a brand new game, and the Twins probably find a way to come away and win that one if that's the case. But when Churio robbed that home run, you just Royce Lewis tipped his cap, and I think you just got to tip your cap and be like, not our day today. We'll just take the L today.
Yeah, not our day today for sure. Again, other teams are going to make plays. Those are professional ball players too as well. Kind of puts into perspective just how crazy a 13-game win streak in the MLB really is, to be totally honest.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Okay, not what we wanted, right? We wanted 14 in a row, but we'll still take it. 13-1 on our last 13. Fun ride, man. Really fun ride. All of a sudden, just a lot more excitement, right? It just feels like a different atmosphere, a different vibe, I guess, around the Minnesota Twins when people are talking about them. What's the water cooler talk at work right now after this one? And going on this, again, 13-1 stretch here. What's everybody, texting in the Twins group chats, if you will, after this great streak to go from kind of the bottom of the barrel to looking like an actual very competitive team in this AL Central again?
Yeah, might have to just be that Royce Lewis is starting to find his swagger again. I mean, that's really got to be it. He had just a missile that he hit into the upper deck for the home run in the 3rd inning. And then he almost, of course, hit the game-tying home run. He got an extra base hit yesterday. After starting obviously 1 for his first 20 and 4 for the first 28 or something along those lines. It had been a really rough start for him coming back. Even though he had a little bit of spring training, he still didn't get all that time. He basically rushed right back, and he really struggled at the plate. And even in the loss today, his swing looked really good. It's looking like, he made 3 different really nice plays defensively at third base. So I think what everybody's going to be talking about looks like Royce Lewis is starting to get back on track here this season.
Yeah, well said there. All right, plenty more deep dive from this one. Nerdy stat of the day. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by FanDuel. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the MLB. And right now, FanDuel is giving you a chance at a huge return, $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. Why I love FanDuel? When you get the hunch in the middle of the game, you can go check out the latest stats. You can view live play-by-play, all on the same page where you're placing your bets. Again, $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. Go check it all out over at FanDuel.com. Get some MLB future action while you're there. Twins sitting at plus 230 right now to win the AL Central, all sitting up over at FanDuel.com. Again, check it all out over at FanDuel.com and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 bet. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the MLB. All right, nerdy stat of the daytime. Any crazy stat or fun analytic maybe related to today's game, or even this 13-game winning streak as well?
Yeah, so the Twins coming into this game, they had a 34, or they ended the scoreless inning streak at 34 innings throughout today's game when they gave up that run in the 2nd inning. But until that point, it was a club record. So since they've been in Minnesota, the longest there. The actual longest one was the Washington Senators back before they moved to Minnesota in 1929. And on the Twins radio broadcast, Chris Atterbury talked about this, and he said that in that 39-inning scoreless streak that the Senators had at that time, the first 15 of them came from Walter Johnson in one outing when he pitched 15 shutout innings.
Yeah, that is deep down the well there.
Got a big train reference today, you know?
Love that. Zebby on the mound again, making his first start of 2025. We saw him a lot last year. I know he was ripping it up down in St. Paul for the Saints leading up to this, but again, not the day he probably wanted, just 3 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned. What'd you like? What'd you dislike from his stuff today the most? And, just in general, you kind of touched on it, but the pitching staff as a whole has just been unbelievable, right? Best in the bigs over the last 3-4 weeks, I got to assume. Again, 34 consecutive scoreless innings as well, as you just touched on. I guess how much have they really moved the needle, put it that way, as far as just the Twins looking like a competitive team again?
Yeah, I mean, the pitching staff has been the only thing keeping the team afloat when the team wasn't hitting and when they weren't playing complete baseball. So this pitching staff, I looked yesterday or Friday, I believe, but the number was coming into the weekend. They were a top 4, top 5 overall team in terms of ERA this season. And the starting rotation is obviously a little better than that because they were in a better spot relatively compared to the bullpen. But even the bullpen, I think if you take them away, they're still like top 6 just in reliever ERA. So this pitching staff, and really it starts with the 4 main starters when you look at Lopez, Ryan, Ober, and Paddock. Those guys are the ones that are driving the bus. And it was fascinating to see the team send Simeon Woods Richardson down. He has been struggling. The ERA tipped over 5, and the Twins are saying like, hey, we're in a winning streak. We got to keep this thing going. They opted to send him down and call up Zebby Mathews. It was either him or David Festa, who've both been doing really, really well in AAA and kind of pushing for that spot. And for Zebby today, it wasn't the worst outing of all time, but definitely in that 3rd inning, I believe it was 2nd inning, where things really kind of got out of control for him, is really just when, I believe it was the 3rd inning, is when things really got out of control for him. And he just kept walking guys and just didn't really have the command where he wanted, and then kind of got dinked and dunked a little bit. But overall, I think Zebby is going to be good. He's obviously a pitcher that pounds the strike zone, doesn't want to have a lot of walks, and he's a guy that's going to be able to get guys out consistently. It's just a one-off start. You don't want to make too much of it. But just for today, definitely kind of had the jitters going a little bit and just couldn't quite locate his pitches, and the Brewers were able to make him pay for it today. I think you're muted, Luke.
Good stuff per usual. We're live. That happens once in a while. Hey, Twins lost today. Maybe we're out of our funk a little bit here as well. Don't go anywhere. Cleveland Guardians on deck tomorrow, 3-game series. We'll preview that matchup, and we'll take a peek at the AL Central. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode also brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, now with more than 10 million members to date. And for me and my money, I just swear by it. It's by far the easiest. It's the most exciting way to get in on all the action while you watch your favorite sports and you watch your favorite players. And it's so simple. All you got to do, you pick more or less on 2 or more players' stats, and you watch the winnings roll in. Could be strikeouts, RBIs, home runs, stolen bases, you name it, they got it. Take your pick on more or less. Add them to your Prize Picks entry today. Plus, they now offer Apple Pay. Quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 instantly with any $5 wager. All right, here comes the real test now, right? Cleveland Guardians up next. You just lost 3 of 4 to them before you got hot and started this streak. This is where you obviously really make your money with these division games. Right now, Twins and Guardians kind of within 1 game of each other. Tigers in front right now in the division with about a 4-game lead-ish, pending how things shake out today. Bailey Ober on the mound, right, for game 1 tomorrow. What's just like the #1 thing you're just paying attention to the most in this Cleveland series, this Cleveland matchup? And then also, too, when you look at the division right now, 45 games into the year, what sticks out the most maybe that maybe you didn't see coming compared to some of your preseason expectations?
Yeah, I expected Cleveland to be in the mix, and, I expected Detroit and Kansas City to kind of hang around a little bit as well. I did not expect the Detroit Tigers on May 18th to have the best record in Major League Baseball. That's not necessarily where I thought things were going to be at this point in the year, and I think Detroit will come back to earth a little bit, but I said the same thing about Cleveland last year, and they just never did, so who knows? But overall in this division, I kind of expected to be the Twins and the Guardians at the top kind of fighting it out while the Tigers and Royals hung around, but it's really been kind of the Tigers Tigers just out in their own world, and the Twins, Guardians, and Royals just kind of fighting with each other kind of in the mosh pit right now for that second place spot. And this week is going to be a huge test to see if the Twins can try and separate themselves and get themselves into that Detroit Tigers tier. If they can go 4-2 in the next 6 games, they'll put themselves in a real good spot to do that. At the very least, if you can go 3-3 in this homestand, that's obviously kind of the baseline expectations. Anything less than that's a bummer. But you have a really good opportunity in front of you right now with the Guardians for 3 off day and then the Royals for 3 all at home. It's a really good statement if you can go and take 4 out of 6 in this next stretch. Right as, by the way, school lets out for summer, if you're kind of thinking on the business side of things for the Twins and getting a target field to be getting a little rowdy as the summertime opens up.
Well said there. Good stuff per usual. Twins 13-game win streak snapped today in Milwaukee. Hell of a run, though. Final score today, 5-2. Zebby Mathews made his 2025 Twins debut. 26-21 now on the year, 5 games above 500. Huge shout-out to all you guys, all the everydayers out there that always make us your first listen, all you guys coming in the chat with us from game to game. Make sure you like and subscribe, and go check out all CJ's work as well, at BombCJ30, plus all the work he's always ripping up over at ZoneCoverageMN.com as well. Luke Inman on X, at Luke_Spinman. Again, game 1 with Cleveland tomorrow. Got Bailey Ober on the mound. 6:40 first pitch. We'll catch you right here, same time, same place. But until then, signing out.